Okay, why did that... Why? What was the problem the first time? Great, now I'm never going to know what the problem is. It's just a simple unplug and unplug. All right, reset. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, after some technical difficulties, we are officially kickstarted with Free Refill, episode number 59. The NFL draft happened from Thursday to Saturday, and it is now Monday, and we get to talk about the biggest winners, we get to talk about the biggest losers, we get to talk about some of the underlying headlines, such as Diego Pavia of Vanderbilt going undrafted. We've got Mekhi Lemon getting snatched from the Steelers by the Eagles in Pittsburgh. We've got the Suns struggling right now against the Oklahoma City Thunder and the corrupt officiating and are currently down 3-0 in the series. They're going to try to avoid the sweep, while the Orlando Magic look to go up 3-1 against the one-seeded Detroit Pistons, who have struggled in the beginning. We've got a hell of a jump in Jehoshaphat to get into. I don't want to waste any more time because I'm already behind. It's already 7:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I already behind due to technical difficulties. So we just got to jump in. We got no time to dilly-dally, even though that is what I am doing by talking this much. I'm dilly-dallying. But you know what? Maybe dilly-dallying every once in a while. You know what? Maybe it's just a good thing. So let me get it in here. I see Marcus. Marcus has made it in. Appreciate you. Appreciate you for showing up. Saying, hey, coach, let's make history. Yeah, hey, coach, let's make history. You know what? I'm going to make history right now. It's going to be how long I'm going to whinge about whether it's the draft, whether it's the Suns. I got a lot of stuff to get off my chest. And then I see Jay in here. Jay, appreciate you for pulling up as well. Saying, why the F is Philadelphia calling? Yeah, thanks, Jay. Although, I know no one will believe it when I say it, I really wasn't looking to have Lemon at 20. Like, Lemon was good, but I did not have him ranked, like, as the 11th best prospect in the draft, like some other people. So I wasn't super necessarily going out and wanting him that badly. And plus, we got Jeremy Bernard in round 2, so I'm not that upset at the overall outcome. Maxi Iankor, I enjoy as having a pick, especially not knowing the status of Broderick Jones, and now having 3 first-round picks on the offensive line, along with Zach Frazier. I feel pretty good, and Mason McCormick. So it's actually, I'm not gonna lie, it may have worked better for us than most people will ever give us credit. But I think the Steelers did have a decent draft. We'll get into the winners, we'll get into the losers overall. But I am with the 35th pick of the 2016 draft. Wonder who was the 35th pick of the 2016 draft. I have a feeling they were good because I remember the back half. It may have been, was it Landon Collins or was Landon Collins top of the second? I don't remember. Someone Google it for me. Find out who it was. Marcus was saying the mock draft wasn't too bad. I think they were like 2 to 5 picks off. Appreciate it. Yeah, I honestly remember they drafted Mendoza, and I think none of the other picks I got right. They were all kind of in the fairly close range, but like I don't think I nailed a single one. Like I was like, all right, well, Jets actually drafted David Bailey, and then the Cardinals, I said they weren't going to take Jeremiah Love, and they did, which already, trust me, they'll pop up in the loser spot. We'll get into why, of course, later, but let's start. Let's just get into it. I got to talk the winners. I got to talk the losers. We'll start with the biggest winners of the draft, because listen, we like to start a little positive on this show. That's not true. We're usually pretty negative, but let me start with one of the biggest winners of the draft, which is actually pictured right here. I thought the Raiders did a very good job. Let me just pull up their draft class because I don't remember all the names, but I know they got some. Listen, Fernando Mendoza, obviously they get their quarterback, but aside from getting their quarterback, they had a lot of other very good players in that draft that I felt did. I mean, I thought they got a lot of good guys. We'll talk about 4th round Mike Washington Jr. Actually, quick story about him. Because I'm in Central New York, he was actually at Turning Stone for his draft. So he was there when he got picked. There's a funny story I might tell some other time, but that I heard about it. I don't have all the details, so I don't want to spill it quite yet. But it was overall a pretty. I heard he was pretty excited, and it was overall a very funny experience. But Mike Washington's going in the 4th round. I thought was great value for a guy who is I think a lot of people had him top 5 running back in the class overall, like in the top 3, and not a particularly strong running back class. But I think for a running back 3 on that team, has a lot of speed, a lot of breakaway speed. I think that's a very good fit there. Jermon McCoy, getting him in the 4th round for the Raiders is insane value. I know he had the injury, but the idea is, like, I know there was the injury. I still thought a lot of teams would have still considered him to take him early. But 4th round is incredible value for the Tennessee corner. And obviously getting Mendoza. The one thing I'll say, they didn't get as many receivers as I thought they would. They must have crazy faith in Jalen Nailor. But overall, I thought was very solid. It addressed a lot of their issues defensively. K'Ron Crawford in the 3rd round I also liked. Getting center at Trey Zune, Texas A&M center. Very good. I feel overall the Raiders did very well. So that's a big winner for me off the rip. The second one that I think a lot of people are in consensus about, and that I was kind of shocked based off of round 1, but the rest of the draft class was very good, was Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns actually did very good work. I thought were one of the best drafts. They had a great draft last year as well, as showed by like Harold Fannin and Quinshon Judkins, just to name a few there. But they all, and also, of course, the defensive rookie of the year in Carson Schlesinger as well. But the Browns, I think, did very well again. Spencer Fano at the 9th overall pick at tackle. Very good selection there to get help on the offensive line. I didn't like the Concepcion pick in the 1st round because I liked Denzel Boston more, but they got him anyway. So they end up getting 2 of the top 8 wide receivers in the class, which is very impressive when you had arguably the worst wide receiver core in the league last year. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren at safety in the 2nd is also great value. Adding another tackle in Austin Barber. And Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback, I think athletically adds another... Not that he'll start at quarterback. I don't think he'll beat out Shador or even Dylan Gabriel. But I do think athletically in some packages you could have a... Kind of similar to what the Ravens did when they were trying to introduce Lamar Jackson a little bit. To maybe a lesser extent, because obviously they were training Lamar to be the franchise quarterback, as opposed to Green, who's more of just going to be maybe a Taysom Hill-esque player. But still, that kind of athleticism just isn't really ever going to get passed up on. So Taylon Green getting in the 6th, I thought was a steal. 2 tight ends, surprisingly, with Royer and Ryan, the Cincinnati kid and the kid out of BYU. But Parker Brailsford is well in the 5th round out of Alabama, is also great value. Overall, Cleveland nailed the 2 biggest weaknesses they had last year, which was their offensive line and receiver. And that's going to help out whoever quarterback is, whether you think it's Shador. It's probably going to be Shador. But whether it's Shador for this year and the future, or whether it's a quarterback in the next draft class, they're going to have some protection and they're going to have some weapons, and that's what Cleveland need to do. I thought they nailed it. I think I would say one more team that I think technically I would say would have won for sure is also Philadelphia. Their draft class is, mostly because you were able to get Lemon. I think with knowing that you're going to move off A.J. Brown in the future, to be able to get the wide receiver that you actually wanted is a very nice selection. Especially because now you add that to a core with Devontae Smith. You just traded for Wicks from Green Bay. You had added Marquise Brown as well. So I think Mekhi Lemon kind of isn't forced to carve out a role right away as well, because those guys are more, not proven, but definitely have shown that they can produce in an offense to a smaller extent than most receivers, but definitely can get a lot done there. And then even Cole Payton, the North Dakota State, kind of the same example. Day 3 quarterback that has some level of athleticism that you can use in various packages. I feel like that's overall really good selection there. Surprised that's really they would use that as their 4th pick of the draft. I would surprise that they would take a quarterback considering they had no 4th round pick, but they won Lemon and they went out and got him. So big winners there. Jay's in the chat saying, "Nah, you got the pick in the Chiefs Browns trade." Yeah, but I thought I had Delane going. I thought I had Delane going to the Saints. I don't know. I knew he was going to go fairly high because that was the top corner. But I really thought the Saints were going to be able to land him. Maybe I don't remember. Maybe I don't have the same remembrance as what I remembered before. But yeah, Kansas City getting Mansour Delane was you know what? I guess I predicted it. I guess I just knew. Sonny Styles falling as much as he did also kind of shocked me as well. To the Commanders. In my original draft, I think I did have Sonny falling to Washington, but then I changed it because I was like, maybe I could see the Titans taking him. But the Titans also getting Carnell Tate. I think the Titans. Let me see what people have them graded because I actually really like the Titans original first round pick in Carnell Tate. I'm actually shocked that they don't have this C+. Really? That seems kind of whack. I liked their class. I liked Keldrick Folk. I like Keldrick Folk at the back half of the first round and then getting Carnell Tate, the best receiver in the class. You're helping your quarterback. I thought that was a good pick. Maybe the rest of the class wasn't particularly strong. I don't know. I thought they did fairly well, all things considered. I mean, they weren't. People are upset they didn't get a top running back. But frankly, it's not like it's a super strong running back class. You're either getting Jeremiah Love or nobody else. And speaking of which, well, we shouldn't get into them yet. We shouldn't get into the Jeremiah Love selection because, people are. What do they have the Cardinals rated? There's no way the Cardinals are higher than that. C+, Packers C+, Broncos C+, Falcons C+, Bucks B-. What? They liked the Cardinals class? Why? They should have gotten a D. I'm sorry, you don't take Jeremiah Love if you have that many holes. I just don't get that. B. That's insane. I don't know, I just don't get that. I mean, I get Love. Love's a good player, don't get me wrong, but outside of that, their class did not come off as incredibly strong to me. I mean, I get it, right? You hire Mike LaFleur, you're going to need a new offense. But, how many running backs do they have in that room now? It's Jeremiah Love. It is... No, DeMarcado's not in there. It's Jeremiah Love. You still have James Conner. I mean, the Cardinals' depth chart is stacked to the rafters with running backs. It's Jeremiah Love. Yeah, and you just signed Algier. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking because I knew they signed someone else. They signed Tyler Algier. So now you have a stacked running back class, which, by the way, congratulations. Stacked running back room. The rest of your roster is chopped. Am I crazy? Okay, fine. They invested in guard. They invested in 2 linemen, one in the 7th in Jaden Williams, and then Chase Basantis, the Texas A&M guard. So, sure. But, I mean, whether you think Beck should somehow get more reps than, say, if you really want to start Carson Beck over, Jacoby Brissett, fine. But there's not even, Carson Beck right now, obviously, early on is going to be listed as 3rd. That might change. He might go at, above Gardner in the depth chart later down the line. I don't fully get it. I don't fully get it. Let's hold on. Let me stay on track of winners because we're not done with winners yet. Oh, let me talk a team that I think is a winner, but not as much as people think. It's the New York Jets. The New York Jets, I think, did a good job this year. I think they did. They got another receiver to pair with Garrett Wilson and Omar Cooper. I think they took the higher floor player in David Bailey, which I think they need. They especially because, moving off Quinn Williams, moving off Sauce Gardner. The one first-round pick that I will take slight grievance towards, and it's not because he's bad. I think he's very good. I think he has a high ceiling as well. I think the issue I have with the Kenyon Sadiq pick with the Jets is that it feels like a luxury pick. That's a pick that I think a team makes if they're adding a final piece to contend. That's not a pick of a team that you build your core around. Does that make sense? If you are, especially when you think about the best tight ends in the league, generally speaking, almost none of them are first rounders. The main one that had a good year this past year is Kyle Pitts. George Kittle is a 5th rounder. Travis Kelce, for his entire career, 3rd rounder. Even Gronkowski, 2nd rounder. Tight ends are just not generally players that you spend high picks on. It usually doesn't work well, at least for the team that drafts them from recent years. Mark Andrews as well is another example, which was a later round pick. Genuinely, if you remember the draft Mark Andrews was in, they had taken Hayden Hurst in the same draft class in the 1st round, and Mark Andrews was so much better. So, I get it. I get the infatuation with a productive tight end, But the reality is they don't really exist in the first round. Even like Sam Laporta. Laporta wasn't a first rounder either. So if you look at Trey McBride, another example, not a first rounder. So and even then, teams that do have great tight ends, like look at Trey McBride. He's the only good piece, right? So I think the reality of trying to take someone like Sadiq for the New York Jets doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And again, it's not like he's a bad player. It's just when you look at the Jets and think of how many other things they're going to need going into next year, they're going to need a lot, I still think. But it was very good. I mean, again, now they had another three first rounders. D'Angelo Ponz, I also thought was a solid corner. And then I always, every time I see a quarterback, I feel the need to talk about him. But Cade Klubnik is interesting because right now, your backup is Brady Cook. We watched Brady Cook. He was fine, but you can always get better at the backup quarterback position, especially when your starting quarterback doesn't even appear to be very good in the form of Geno Smith. There's real chances we see Klubnik get snaps. And don't forget, we're not too far away from when people were talking about Cade as a first-round pick. So there's clearly some upside there that I think people won't mention as much. But I thought it was solid. I thought it was a very solid draft class. It wasn't... I don't think it was as crazy impressive as what many other people would say, but I thought it was well done. I thought it was an overall solid draft class. Now, let me talk about my team. Let me address the Pittsburgh Steelers and what they did in the draft, because I didn't think they were huge winners, but I definitely didn't think they were losers based on what I saw from them in the draft class. I think they were definitely top half of the league in what they ended up doing. Now, I will say this, regarding the Mekhi Lemon thing, I wasn't necessarily super upset that we missed out on him because I knew that there were other receivers that we go out and get, which we ended up doing. I'm not too upset with Max Ironshore. I mean, this dude is absurd. When you look at this man's measurables, he has 31 college starts, which is, I mean, listen, that's good experience at any tackle position, especially for a guy that is from Nigeria. He is 6'7". He is 34-inch arms and 4.91 speed. He has a 4.9 40 at 321 pounds. That's a big boy that can move. That's a big boy that can protect. And again, the Steelers already have spent a lot of capital on their offensive line. They went out and drafted Broderick Jones. They drafted Troy Fatuanu. And now we're actually going to, basically the Steelers are getting 2 first-round linemen because Fatuanu basically saw no time last year. So now they're going to have 3 first-round picks on the offensive line, presumably. They still have Zach Frazier, who's a very good center that they got in the second round in previous drafts. And then Mason McCormick has developed into a very nice interior guard as well. So the offensive line is very well constructed, and they built it that way so no matter who is there, at least they will have protection. Whether that is Rodgers, whether that is potentially Drew Aller, who they took, whether they think it's going to be Mason Rudolph. But whoever is taking snaps will be comfortable back there, is my guess. So starting with that. And then again, getting in the second round, getting the Bama kid Bernard. Listen, he's not going to be wide receiver 1 at the gate, and that's not what they need him to be. They need him to be a wide receiver 3. They need him to play the slot. I mean, what? He's 6'1", 206. He's going to be 6'1", 206. Bama put him in the backfield. Pittsburgh might do that as well if Mike McCarthy wants to get a little creative. You've already got DK and Michael Pittman. Are they world beaters? No. They're not high end, and I'd argue neither one's in their prime. But at the end of the day, that is right there an upgrade from last year. Like, I know DK struggled last year, but that is better than what they had at wide receiver 2 with Calvin Austin. Like, Michael Pittman is now better. So I think that is just a strict upgrade in general. Drew Aller in the third. They needed a QB. And I prefer this as opposed to Carson Beck, because I think Aller has higher upside. I think he has a lot more intangibles that Beck just doesn't have when I watch Beck. Beck looks so much like if you grabbed a random person off the street and asked them to play quarterback. That's kind of my issue. And I get it, Beck has like certain championship experience that many other quarterbacks don't. But let's be honest. That's a limiting. That's not always a factor. I would think, especially when you look at like previous Bama quarterbacks. Like, yeah, that's a factor, but when even when these Bama QBs they get in the playoffs, it's a different world. It just is. It's a different world compared to the college level. The as much as people hype up the national championship and everything and how great it is, the difference, I think, is negligible. But I mean, I think Fernando Mendoza, will still have like that sort of moxie and pedigree, but it's not like Mendoza's taking the Raiders to the playoffs in year one. Nobody's betting on that. Nobody's putting the house on that. And the other two, I like Dunker, the Iowa kid. Generally speaking, I like any lineman that comes out of Iowa. Any lineman that comes out of Iowa just gets me hyped because it's Iowa. Iowa build their linemen incredibly strong. Marshall Yanda, remember Yanda coming out for the Ravens. Mike Daniels for the Packers. That dude was underrated. People don't talk about Mike Daniels enough. He was a monster on the defensive side of the ball. So getting someone like Dunker out of Iowa, that's going to be a good guard. So the Steelers are going to have, I think, their offensive line set for the next 2 or 3 years. I think it's going to be a top 5 unit by 2027. By the end of 2027, that's going to be a top 5 unit in the league, in my opinion. Hayden Wetjen, also 4th rounder. So solid player. I'm surprised we took him as high as we did. It does make sense. He's listed as a wide receiver. Honestly, he's a return man. They don't have Calvin Austin anymore. Calvin Austin was probably their best return man since Antonio Brown. I mean, it'd been a while. They had a punt return touchdown last year, right, against the Giants. But, no, not last year. 2 years ago against the Giants. And then outside of that, they really don't have another guy to return. So getting Wetjen does make a lot of sense. I don't hate the pick. The rest of the draft, past the 5th round, I wasn't super excited about. But overall, I thought they were great the first 2 days. I thought they got everything they needed. I think there's obviously still holes when we look at it, but look, I think they did a very good. And then also Dalen Everett, the Georgia corner. I think that pairs very well because they signed Jamel Dean, right? They have Joey Porter Jr., who is, I think, starting to hit his prime and starting to play much better. He's not as handsy as he used to be. He's not committing as many penalties. He's actually playing good defense. I like that pick. I like that pick to add as another corner into the room to get something done, especially seeing where that cornerback room was at times last year. So I definitely like that pick as well. Shoot. I think this team right now, especially in the AFC, that right now feels kind of bizarre. Everybody has like a lot of different weaknesses, right? Maybe not for 2026, but definitely for 2027, if they can either land a good rookie or one of those two projects in Aller and Will Howard actually show promise. Because I think Pittsburgh's not as far away as people want to say. All they need to, if Pittsburgh can nail their QB, and I guess you could say that about almost every team, but if you can nail a quarterback, I think Pittsburgh's roster is very impressive overall. I wouldn't say they're too far away. Now, we've talked about our winners and our borderline winners, but there are also losers. And I don't mean to say that Ty Simpson is a loser. Ty Simpson, I know I'm using him for the picture, but Ty Simpson I am not putting as the loser. I think Ty Simpson is kind of a half winner, half loser. I think he wins because he goes to play with Sean McVay, and he'll have like Puka Nacua as his wide receiver. He'll be in a very great place for an offense. Like, ideal landing spot for a quarterback to develop. The only part I think where he's a loser in a sense is where now the expectations are higher versus if he had gone later in the first round or early second, the expectations are not as high. But I think the clear loser here has to be the Rams. Because what's the game plan? I mean, you want to go win a championship. There's a chance Ty Simpson doesn't take a snap next year. Versus when you have someone like Ruben Bain on the board, they don't need another receiver, but a Mekhi Lemon or a Kenyon Sadiq, or like that's what I mean by luxury pick. When we talk about a luxury pick, like Kenyon Sadiq on the Rams would have been absurd. Adding that would have been like wild. Get to get another pass catcher alongside Puka and Devontae Adams, like or even Mekhi Lemon as well. But to see them take the quarterback of the future when Matthew Stafford could play 2 or 3 more years, maybe 4, doesn't make sense to me when you are in win now mode. Like, there's a real, like, listen, they are in win now mode. They were in the NFC Championship game. They gave the biggest fight to Seattle, I think, of anybody basically all year. And yet, they went and took Ty Simpson? They took Ty Simpson with the 13th overall pick. Why? There were so many better available prospects. There were so many other, not even necessarily positions of need, but you were in a luxury position where not many teams get those chances, right? Not many teams get those opportunities. So now, how are you not taking that chance? It just doesn't make any sense to me. It blows my mind that the Rams would ever make a decision to go out and grab Simpson when Ruben Bain is on the board, or Kenyon Sadiq, or even Max Ironshore, our pick. Like, that would have made a lot more sense to compete for now with Matthew Stafford than it would to, like, wait 3 seasons before he may even see a start. Like, I don't get it. And I think as much as the Packers pick has worked out with Jordan Love for the future, I just don't like this pick from any perspective, especially if your goal and your game plan is to go and win now. There will be next year's quarterback class is stacked if you wanted to grab one then. I don't know why they would take Ty now when there were other players that could have improved different positions. Because I'll tell you right now, as much as I love Simpson, as much as I think I want him to succeed, I do. I just would prefer it if quarterbacks were good because it makes the NFL more fun, more entertaining. But he's not going to touch the ball. Ruben Bain could touch the ball. Max Ironcore could protect Matthew Stafford. Kenyon Sadiq could catch a game-winning touchdown. That's the difference. Ty Simpson will not make a physical impact on the field next year. And if you don't win a Super Bowl in the next 2 or 3 years, you're going to look at this moment and say, you know what? We could have gotten a player that could have been a huge impact. Because you know there are going to be players in this draft that are going to be huge impact. And you could have had one that could have made an impact for you this coming season. And you didn't do that. Just makes no sense to me. I think it's completely shocking. I also see some followers over on Twitch. Let me get you guys some applause. Applause, man. Appreciate you for taking the time to hit that follow button. We love that. James98235, and we'll also get one out there for JMoney466677777. That's a lot of numbers, man. That's a lot of numbers. It's like 86753. Oh man, I'm gonna sound like an unk for knowing that song. 8675309. Yeah, it's old. You know, I'm gonna get copyrighted just for singing the lyrics. They're gonna hunt me down. They're gonna get me. It happens all the time. There's just a bunch of maroons. But I don't get that. I don't get that from the Rams. It just doesn't make sense. How about another head scratcher in the first round, number 3 overall, Jeremiah Love to the Arizona Cardinals. I don't get that pick in the slightest whatsoever, and it genuinely makes me want to flip over and crack my head on this floor right now, because if I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan, right? First of all, running back room it's full. Trey Benson is there, and on top of that, James Conner's going to be coming back, you presume. Oh, and on top of that, guess what? You also signed Tyler Algier, who before Bijan was a 1,000-yard rusher. Tyler Algier is a good running back. There was not remotely a position of need, not even close. And it's not even a draft pick that you give a lot of money to anyway. It's not a draft pick that lasts particularly long. That much we know. So what's the point? Why is it that at any given point in time, the Arizona Cardinals wouldn't want to draft, I don't know, someone to protect the quarterback that might throw the ball, right? Like, why not go out and get Fano? Why not go out and get one of the linemen, right? Why not go out and get Sonny Styles? Why not go out and get Arvil Reese, right? Why not go get that kind of potential player that could be an elite player for 10 years? Because running backs aren't elite for 10 years. They usually aren't. Whereas a pass rusher can be, a wide receiver can be, a lineman certainly can be, right? Running backs just have short shelf lives. So to take one at 3 when you already know you're at least a year out of a rebuild, and who knows, maybe Mike LaFleur does it way faster than everybody else, and he's just like that. But I gotta say, it doesn't make any logical sense. It makes no sense whatsoever for that to be the case. So why do it? Why spend that pick on a running back that again is once again in a crowded running back room with an offensive line that isn't already particularly strong? It's just you already had Trey McBride. Is that not? And you had 3 wins. Is that already enough proof that maybe, just maybe, not all these offensive weapons are going to necessarily net more wins? You would think, right? You would hope. You would hope that would be the case. Clearly, Arizona hasn't learned their lesson. And again, just I don't know which one was worse. Because I can understand the Simpson pick wanting to build for the future. Arizona's pick's not to build for the future. It's just, flashy lights. I need to have flashy light so I can sell jersey. That's what it feels. It doesn't feel like a team that wants to build a franchise. Just a team that's like, I want to have love and the number 4 on the shirt so all the children can wear it. No. Bad Cardinals. Again, and also we need to start doing the thing. People talk about this all the time. We need to start having the game where the worst team in the league has to compete to not be demoted to the CFL. We need to start having that. Because genuinely, some of these teams are so bad. Some of these teams are not only bad, but their ownership is bad and make awful decisions. Teach them a lesson, send them to the CFL, send them to the XFL, do what you need to do, get them into, that's like, putting a team in rehab. That's rehab. You go to rehab, you figure it out, you can come back once you figured it out. Arizona's one of those teams that needs rehab. It's due. Then, of course, watch 2 years from now, and Arizona's in the NFC Championship game, and here I am clowning the Jeremiah Love pick. Oh, that's sports, though. That is sports. Oh, no, shoot, another Twitch streamer. I just noticed that. Let me get them applause. J David 675. Is everybody just named Jay? Is it just James, Jay? Everybody's got a J name, man. It's crazy. J David 675. Everybody's a J name. It's wild. All right, now. There was one other loser I want to talk about. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are my last major loser that I got to chat about because, let me pull this up. Let me pull up the draft class. The Jaguars, first of all, didn't have a first round pick, which is okay, fine, they didn't. But it's not just that. The issue is who they drafted. So the Jaguars listen, this trade could have been so much worse. But they got one of these picks I thought was really good. I liked the Pregnon pick. I like Pregnon, the 3rd rounder out of Oregon. So the first 2 picks were Texas A&M players. Let me tell you right now, what on earth is Nate Borchert? What is Nate doing up there? I like him. Listen, I thought he could have been a day 3 pick. I'm going to say this right now. Anybody who did a prospect ranking, rank the prospects, Nobody had this guy any higher than the 100th best prospect. Nobody. Everybody had this guy in triple digits. If you had this guy in double digits, I'm going to question what you're talking about. If you had him in single digits, then you're just on crack. And no disrespect to Nate, but listen, the 56 overall pick, that's double the ranking of what most people had him as. And for Jacksonville to take, again, what many people, I will tell you right now, tight end, especially in this era, and I think of all time in general, is such a luxury item. It is such a luxury item that can only be afforded by the best of the best teams. It is just how that works. Okay? That is not how teams should be building their foundation. It's just not. You cannot be investing at the tight end position as if it is your foundation. You need to invest in your offensive line, you need to invest in your defensive line, and you need to invest in finding a good quarterback. The idea that teams think that the tight end is what's going to be the difference. Like, seriously, tell me right now, Jacksonville's 13-4 last year. 13-4, won the AFC South. They played a really close game, but they lost to Buffalo. What's the thing that's going to be the difference in the Jaguars beating the Bills the next time around? A second-round tight end who is graded as a day 3 pick. Because that's the difference. That's the problem. If you're a team, you got to be building to beat the team that beat you. You got to be beating to beat the Bills. That's most teams in the AFC. How do we beat the Bills? How do we beat Josh Allen? I don't know. Why don't we go get an athletic defensive lineman to go around and chase him? Or why don't we get like a genuine, how about a running back? Huh? Jacksonville saw Travis Etienne hit the runway off to New Orleans, off to NOLA, and we're sitting here. Michelle Tootin going to be tooting up a storm, apparently. He's going to be high-key tooting all the way to the end zone, apparently, because that's how much Jacksonville didn't have a single running back in this class. I know it was a weak class, but they were available. There were options. Mike Washington Jr. I'm advocate for that man. Go get him. Go get the Arkansas kid. The Arkansas kid's got blazing speed. Go give him a shot. And it made no sense. It was just not a good draft class. Just up and down. But there were just... My goodness. I mean, right now it's going to be Tootin and Chris Rodriguez Jr. That's not a great running back room. That's not a great running back room for a team that wants to play good defense based on what they did last year and needs that running game because of how good Etienne was last year. So it just makes no sense to me that they would do that. I think it's kind of absurd. Also, by the way, here's another one. Devin Lloyd, who they lost in free agency, had a great year with Jacksonville last year. Is now on the Panthers. Or no, it's not on the Panthers. Is it on the Panthers? I think it is. Devin Lloyd's on the Panthers. But now, guess who they went to replace him? Next to nobody. Devin Lloyd, Devin Lloyd's now a Panther. They drafted Parker Hughes with the 240th pick to replace Devin Lloyd. What? One of your best players, left in free agency, and you had no plan to replace him at all? Cool. So Jacksonville just doesn't know what they're doing, again, which makes sense. But I mean, right when I think Jacksonville could finally stick around and be a good team for a little while, of course, they have a draft that makes it look like I just used the bathroom. Come on. I mean, with all due respect, and again, like I said, I hope all these guys do pan out, but use your brain a little. Even if they had gotten the best tight end at the second overall pick, like at that second round pick, I still would have questioned it because it's not going to be the difference in a game against the Bills. It's not going to be a difference in a playoff game. The expectation for Jacksonville is they're supposed to be winning a playoff game against the Bills. The difference is not going to be Texas A&M tight end Nate Borkacher. It's just not. Makes no sense. Makes no sense at all. It's ridiculous. Makes no sense. And as somebody who, for some reason, I don't know why, I shouldn't like Jacksonville for what they've done to my team, what they've done to the Steelers over the years by being annoying. I ain't being great, just being annoying and good at the worst possible times, right? Oh my gosh, that man better be Gronk. If he's not Gronk, awful pick. You better pull that's like Gronk or Kelsey level of production at tight end, because I'll tell you right now, Jacksonville, if you end up 8 and 9 again, Trevor Lawrence struggles, and you don't win the division, and it's like Cam Ward, or we have to, or God forbid, you make us watch CJ Stroud again. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to go into another playoff game to watch CJ unless he drastically turns it around. Nobody wants to watch the construction worker slinging around the lot. I can't. So bad. Houston didn't have a good draft either, but I think the Colts probably did the best out of all three of them, or all four of that division. But regardless, Mark is saying, I don't know, man. Ty Simpson could be the next Colt McCoy. Yeah, he definitely could be. In fact, I could. Man, Colt McCoy just. I think he could be better. I think he could be better than Colt McCoy, but I can't genuinely have him in the competition level of being a good draft pick. He could be a good player, but for the Rams right now, bad draft pick, all things considered. I mean, unless somehow Matthew Stafford magically pulls the rug out and says, yeah, I'm going to retire right now, today. And it's well, at least we have our quarterback. Come on. It's ridiculous. Ridiculous stuff. All right, those are the winners I have. Those are the losers. There were others. Like I didn't think San Francisco was good. I don't know who they take. Keon Black with their 3rd round pick, and I was looking at that and I said, that's not even a top 5 back in this class. It's not even close. And it was a 3rd back taken. It made no sense, especially for a guy. Let me say something about Keon Black. Love the kid out of Indiana. The kid had 8 catches in 2 years, and they're like, "Yep, that'll be the backup for the pass catching running back that is Christian McCaffrey." Okay, John Lynch. Use that big brain of yours, buddy. You know what you're doing better than me. No sense. Unless you want it to be the exact opposite, which I'm going to tell you right now. You put Keon Black in the game. Guess what I'm going to do? Loaded box. Like, you don't even need to load it. Whatever. Makes no sense to me. Kyle Shanahan, I would have been annoyed. I would have been annoyed if I was Kyle Shanahan. Because I thought there were better backs. There were better backs on the board than Black. No offense. No offense to him, of course. But, I mean, to take a guy who has 8 catches in 2 years at Indiana, and that's going to be the backup to the best receiving back in the National Football League? Yeah, okay. See it. Try it. You're going to run McCaffrey into the ground again. Jay's in the chat saying his own coach knows it was a BS pick, but the McAfee draft show had Danny O on when it happened. It was great. I didn't see the Danny O. Oh my gosh. The Dan Orlovsky reaction. Can you imagine how much he's celebrating? Like, Ty Simpson owes like a I don't know, we'll say he's going to send a check every week to Dan if he ends up getting a second contract. If he gets a second contract and it's big, he's going to send so much money to Dan Orlovsky. It's crazy. Dan Orlovsky's going to make more money from Ty Simpson than he ever made in his NFL playing career. Ever. Just ain't close. Oh my gosh. Absolutely ridiculous. There's an absolute shocking revelation. It's just, oh my gosh. All right. You know what? I can't believe I haven't seen the reaction. I'll probably watch it later, but oh my gosh. Dan Orlovsky just somehow, some way. All right. That's all I had for the biggest. Let me think. Were there any other? I don't like the way people are grading the Bucks. Apparently, people are like Bucks had like a average draft class, and I'm like, buddy, they got Ruben Bain. Does it matter who else they got? I guess they didn't have a deep class. I mean, they got a steal in Bain, though, in my opinion. I think they completely stole that one. I didn't also like what the Bills were doing again, but I never really like what Brandon Beane is doing. Like, he traded back so much. They had 6 picks total. Huh? They spent their 7th round pick on Athan Kaliakmanis, Rutgers quarterback. Like, I don't know. It just... Or no, that was Washington. My bad. I read the wrong draft list. Okay, never mind. The Bills did have picks. I was reading Washington's draft class, so my bad on that. Tommy Dooman. I don't know. It just seems like they had no 3rd rounders, no 1st rounders. Like, I just don't get it. TJ Parker, Davison Igbinosun, cornerback out of Ohio State. I mean, Buffalo better hope that these picks pay off, because I got to tell you, I don't know. I look at this, I see maybe one starter. Like, one guy who will get, like, significant minutes. Significant snaps, rather. I keep saying minutes. I'm thinking basketball. I keep saying minutes. Jay saying if it was me, I'd be like, Ty, you owe me a roll of dip every week. Ty, you owe me a pack of cigarettes. I don't know what to tell you. You send me a pack of... And owe me a pack of Newports once a week, you know? Send me the Newports. They're all mine. I deserve them. Oh, my gosh. Crazy. I can't... The Dan Orlovsky propaganda. The Rams bought it. I can't believe they did that. All right. Enough about the draft for now. I got a couple minutes. Let me talk... hold on. I don't know if that game was meant to tip off at 7. Oh, breaking news. Cooper Flagg won Rookie of the Year. And that makes sense, honestly. Breaking news. Wait, how breaking of news? Was this just now? This just happened. Yep, Cooper Flagg, wins NBA Rookie of the Year. It makes sense. It makes sense because the voters voted after the play-in, so they saw Con Knippel struggle. That kind of makes sense. Yeah, and that's probably the right pick. Apparently the Rams, I'm also hearing, wanted to trade back for pick number 3. Jacksonville was trying to trade their 2027 first, apparently. I don't know who they were going to try to get. Now I'm just reading all this other stuff that I'm finding out. When does Orlando start? Did they tip off at 8 tonight, or did they already tip off an hour ago? Okay, they tip off in 7 minutes. Thunder Suns tonight at 9. Marcus says rigged. Yeah, probably. All right, let me get into my third topic that I want to talk about, and that's that Lou Dort chews on tree bark, and Lou Dort pisses me off. This entire Thunder roster genuinely gives me the herp. It makes me want to chew my own skin. I'm so aggravated. First of all, this play pisses me off because Lou Dort has done this all year. Lou Dort's a bum. Lou Dort is genuinely look at that. Look at the stretch on this leg right now. Look at that and tell me. It's right there. And yet you have Thunder fans acting like they're the main character in an anime. Oh man, everybody's against us. How are we ever going to do this? You have the most talented roster in the league. You have one of the deepest rosters in the league. And yet you also have one of the most egregious whistles in the league. You don't need all of this to win an NBA championship, and yet it is hilarious watching Netanyahu himself trying to go up against Colin Gillespie and genuinely can't get a good enough shot up, so he has to foul bait. It is embarrassing. Adam Silver, what if this goes on in round 2 against probably the Lakers, I would presume. I don't think it's going to be the Rockets. But if this happens in round 2, brother, I am going to lose my... I'm going to shave my head. I'm going to shave my head. No, I shouldn't do that because I know it's going to happen. But, I'm done. Adam Silver needs to get it worked out. This is a huge problem on top of tanking. Since Adam Silver's been commissioner for the last several years, the NBA has progressively gotten worse and worse and worse. And it just blows my mind to me that this is something that is acceptable. I'm not sitting here trying to make excuses for the Suns either. They haven't played a particularly great series. They haven't been missing Grayson Allen in a lot of spots. But this is ridiculous. This Thunder team is too good to be whinging about, and this is insane. This is happening every night. Whether it's garbage officiating, whether it's Lou Dort literally trying to snap Book's legs in half with his own, it's ridiculous. It is so absurd to me that this is a thing that has to be emphasized to incompetent, brainless Thunder fans that do not get what every other person watching basketball is witnessing. It's a nightmare to watch. It's hardly basketball. If I told you the objective of the game of basketball is to get the ball on the hoop, the Thunder don't even do that. The Thunder's objective is, I gotta get a foul here. Let me get a foul on Colin real quick. Even though I am over 7 feet tall and can't blow by him remotely, despite the fact that I have the clear and obvious height advantage. Chet, dude, I hate you. I hate you. And you know what? I will apologize sometime later, but today's not the day. Netanyahu is ridiculous. He's annoying. The fact that that's even the case. I get Shea. Shea is good, but Shea has the same problem. It's not even called the same way. Go back to the other game. I think it was game 2. Go back to game 2 and look at the shot Book takes, and they're calling that an offensive foul and saying it's an unnatural shooting motion. Meanwhile, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander is actively driving while at the same time, grannying the ball on a free throw to try to get this layup in. That's natural, guys. That's so natural. That's a natural shooting motion. We see that all the time. No, we do not. It's ridiculous, and it drives me bonkers, and it drives me off the wall. And the fact that every time I got to see incompetent, brain-dead Thunder fans try and explain this like it's the guy who's doing all the whiteboard math. No. Oh, it's like the guy who talks to a brick wall. Just no. No. Use your head. You were given this. Use it. Ugh. Anyway, I honestly, I think it's unfortunately a sweep. I'd love for us to win tonight, but I am so just, I want to be done. I don't even want to play this team anymore. It's not even the fact that I don't want to see the Suns play. It's that I don't want to see us continue to watch the garbage that is the entire Thunder roster. The fact that they need all of that. They need everything possible to be able to get the win is so unbelievably infuriating to me. Mark is saying NBA betting sponsorships are now one of the league's biggest revenue engines, driven by official partnerships with major sportsbooks like FanDuel, DraftKings, BetMGM, Caesars, and others. These deals explode after the 2018 PASPA repeal and now account for a major share of the NBA's $1.4 billion annual sponsorship revenue. Now tell me it isn't rigged. No, Marcus, I agree with you. It is insane that it's insane the level at which sports betting has basically dominated most of sports. Like, I'll tell you right now, I watch sports. And when I tell people I watch sports, most of the time, their next question is, do you bet on sports? Like, it is so much now that the average fan of the sport of any sport is also connected to having to gamble on it. It's an absurd concept. Like, imagine, like, you into, like, imagine if I said, oh, what are you into? And you're like, oh, I read a lot of comic books. And I'm like, really? So do you, like, bet on comic books? No! It's so irritating. It's so obnoxious that it's so connected to it. Like, or it makes me so frustrated because it's such a constant, it exists everywhere. Like, if you watch any sports content at all, obviously you know that how ingratiated it is, but it's every ad break. It's in the ad break. It's in, like, the ticker on the game. It's everywhere, and it's so frustrating that it's never going to go away, and it's so ingrained into it, and yet, like, what do you want? What do you do? What do you even do? Especially with how many sports content creators genuinely now have these as their advertisers. Like, so many people are like have advertising with Kalshi. They have advertising with like DraftKings. They'll have advertising with like RainBet. They'll have all these advertisements with these random betting sites, and it's like it's impossible to get away from, even if you want just genuine content. Like, even if you're just looking at like someone who's not like ESPN or CBS Sports or Fox Sports or whoever. Even if you go to like the Instagram and the TikTok side, you look at like grown from the ground up content creators, it eventually just comes back to them getting a DraftKings like sponsorship and just making money that way. And it's just so upsetting. It is so frustrating that is a thing. And it bums me out, man. It should bum a lot of people out. I'm going to be honest. And there's no way to remove it. It's just a cancerous cell, and it's just not. It's not going to go. And it's not going to go. And it contributes to stuff like this, man. It contributes to this kind of level of play. And it's become so painfully obvious, but no one wants to say anything about it. Not enough people want to say anything about it. I don't want to say that. People definitely have spoken about it, but it's just so ingratiated into the culture. It's not healthy for it. It's just so bad. And the more and more sports sites, like I imagine other states will eventually like legalize these types of apps, legalize betting in those states, and it's just going to get worse and worse, and it's just it sucks. Jay setting the betting sponsors ruined the NBA like Chevy Chase being racist caused Donald Glover to leave community. Yeah. It's just I don't know why we can't just have nice things. It's impossible. It's impossible to have a nice thing these days. You're not a real fan unless you bet. No, I think, Jay, because here's the problem. I know my team too well. Like, I know how often, like, when you know your team really well, to be honest, it's very, like, I think most of the time when you're watching your team and you get a feel of who they are, most of the time, most people can win their spread bets. That's not an encouragement to do so. But like if I had to guess, if I were to bet the spread on every Pittsburgh game, I would say I would go at least 12 for 17 on the season. I would generally be able to get almost every spread bet right. Mark, let's go to the DraftKings parlay of the day. Oh man, it's just like I don't know. It's fun on it's because sometimes it is kind of fun to ride out a parlay, but when it's so like in your face every single time, it sucks the life out of the entirety of it. Like it's just so sapped. It's like I hate to say it because I have a podcast, but the idea of it is like the podcast market. Like there's so many now that the market's just insanely oversaturated, and it's dry. It's just dry, you know. And then Mark is saying bet MGM play of the day. The odds are plus 1,000 of him making this catch and a minus 100 for Ohtani to get a hit here, and watch Judge make this catch. Yeah. Exactly. Because, I mean, like, imagine, even, like, what was, I wonder. And also, like, that's what's interesting with even, like, Super Bowl odds, too, like, at the start of the year. But the way, they're always set up in a way where they're never really in a huge position to lose money. Like, they're always set up in a way where people will bet on them. Like, for example, I would say, like, people will still bet on like, some Cardinals fans will bet on them to win the Super Bowl this year, but their odds are priced at such a like, spot, you know what I mean? That even if they did, they're not really losing out because so many other people are betting on like other stuff. Like especially for those Super Bowl bets. Like especially for those Super Bowl bets, every single fan base is betting on their Super Bowl odds. So like everybody knows like the level. Like they price it out at a level where no matter who wins, they're gonna ultimately be fine. It's just I hate it. I just hate that the sports betting so much pain. All right, last thing I got to get into. The Magic are currently facing off against the Pistons right now. I'm probably going to go watch that in the next 5 minutes, but I wanted to say a little bit because the main thing I had to mention is the Magic have, I mean, I don't know about y'all, the Magic have been impressive. I mean, Wendell Carter in Game 3 with 17 rebounds is absurd. I mean, if the Magic win tonight, the status quo of the entirety of the East completely changes because not only do the Magic go up 3-1 and basically everybody writes off the Pistons, but now with the Cavs and Raptors tied up, I mean, genuinely, like think about this. It could be like like if the Raptors somehow win against the Cavs, we get Raptors Magic to decide who goes to Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, give credit. I somehow Mosley might keep his job. I would have never thought Jordan Mosley would have kept his job, especially after the 76ers matchup. And yet, there's a very real chance that he does. And momentum is crazy. And I think the main reason the Magic staying in this is, and I've said it a few times on the show, but the Pistons lack a second shooter. They lack a second scorer outside of Cade. And I think them losing in the first round will force them to make massive roster decisions. Like, it might mean like an Asur Thompson or Jalen Duren trade. It genuinely might because they need spacing. They need spacing like nobody's business. They need some sort of way to be able to get consistent offense. And right now the Magic are just taking it on them. And honestly, again, anything can happen. The Pistons still have Cade and they're still very talented. And they could close out this. They could win this series in 6 and say that was it and move on. But I gotta tell you right now, if I'm a Piston fan, I am scared for my life right now. I would be very terrified because what now, I think, especially if they were to lose this, what would appear to be a very big championship window can slam shut like immediately. Like it could slam the door right now. And I gotta tell you, that's very scary if I'm a Piston fan. Listen, I mean, we saw what happened with the Lions earlier. The Lions not this past season, but rather the season before, they lose to the Commanders in the divisional round, and then all of a sudden, miss the playoffs entirely. Are they still able to contend in next year? Meanwhile, you're looking at a team like the Pistons. They lose as a 1 seed to Orlando. I mean, do they blow it? Do they blow some things up? Do they move some of their defensive pieces to try to get themselves some better scoring? I would think that would be what the case is because you can't just let Cade be a one-man show doing it all. You just can't. He needs help. He needs help from his guys. When he's not getting it, it's brutal. So tonight, I think the Pistons win and even the series, but I will be rooting for the Magic because I think it'll be exciting to see this. I want to see how far the Magic can go. I want to see how far this 8 seed level of listen. Because my 8 seed's about to be probably done tonight, unfortunately. I hope the Suns can find a way to avoid the sweep, but there's a chance that doesn't happen because, the Thunder and, the corrupt officiating and the Thunder are just very annoying and obnoxious. But I believe there are real chances, so... but I will be rooting for Orlando tonight to try to get that win. I'm rooting for Franz. I'm really rooting for Paulo because as much as I keep clowning on him, saying that, yeah, he's probably not a number one option, it would be nice for him to try to write myself and everyone else off. To kind of say, hey, you were wrong, you're stupid. And I'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Paulo. I was so stupid. You're not CJ Stroud, the CJ Stroud of basketball. You can do this. But that's all I had for this episode. I hope y'all enjoyed. I hope y'all enjoyed me. I had a long day. I had a lot of ranting to do. I'll be back tomorrow. I believe Knicks Hawks Game 5. That's going to be a big one. Definitely going to be talking about that a lot. I think that's going to be a main portion of tomorrow's episode, or at least for the primetime podcast episode for tomorrow. And outside of that, I have nothing else for you guys this evening. We are clocking in at 8:09 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you were here and you enjoyed watching the content, make sure you drop a like and drop the old subscribe or follow wherever you're watching. If you haven't already, really helps me out. Lets me meet new people and learn some more stuff about sports that I didn't even know. Y'all always are very good at educating me. So I appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys tomorrow on a Tuesday. And if not, I'm also here Thursday. Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays is when I'm going live. So appreciate each and every one of you. Hope you all have a good night. I'm going to go grill up some dogs and go watch some Magic and Pistons. Y'all have a good night.